Mental environment, it matters. Now, there's something I've noticed about retirement that doesn't get talked about very much at all. When a man and a woman, if when they step away from full-time work, the full-time schedule, they don't just leave a paycheck behind. They also leave structure, scheduling. They leave daily conversation. They leave a steady stream of interaction that used to shape their thinking without anybody realizing it. And when that structure goes quiet, something else moves into it, kind of takes its place. Now, for some folks, it's the television, running, watching TV shows all day. For others, it's talk radio or scrolling on the phone or the steady drip of bad news that we watch. You wake up in the morning with good intentions, but by lunchtime, you've absorbed fear, anger, division, and urgency that never belonged to you in the first place at all. Now, after a few months of that, your mood changes. Now, it gets back to manifesting. You know, what trash in is trash out. We have to be careful about this. Now, your sleep changes. Even your body changes. That's not weakness. That's environment. Back in the 19th century and early on, people like Emily Cady, as we talked about before, and Judge Troward spoke about thought not as magic, but as the atmosphere. They understood that what a person allows into the mind doesn't stay harmless and neutral. It bounces around in there and shapes things. It shapes your outlook. It shapes posture. It shapes the way you speak to your spouse, the way you greet your neighbor, the way you see your own future. They didn't have all these smartphones or 24-hour news cycles, but they understood that mental climate, it matters just as much as physical climate. You wouldn't plant a garden in hard, dry soil and expect it to flourish. But many retirees and people in general sit in a mental environment that is hard, dry, and agitated, and then wonder why their joy feels thin. You know, I've lived long enough to see how this works in myself. When I spend too much time around agitation and input of toxic, my breathing changes, my shoulders tighten up, my sleep shortens, and when sleep shortens, the body doesn't repair the way it should. Magnesium gets used up so much faster. Potassium balance, it shifts or skews. The body keeps record of all this, as we've talked about before. It always does. What began as a mental diet quietly becomes a physical condition. Now, that doesn't mean you hide from the world. It means you steward what you let shape you. You manage that. Earlier generations were more deliberate about this than we are. We don't give it enough credit. They read slower. They sat on porches. They worked with their own hands. They attended church, not just for doctrine, but for steadiness and structure. Their mental environment had rhythm. It had repetition of the good things in life. Scripture, hymns, neighborly talk, time in the sunlight, walk into town. They were not perfect people, but their minds were not under constant assault either. We are the generation that are bombarded with more information than we can handle. Retirement, for example, gives you something precious, control over your mental intake. But that control requires your intention. And if you do nothing, something else will choose for you. I've talked with men and women who retired within a year, felt restless, irritable. Nothing major happened. No tragedy, no financial collapse, just a steady diet of headlines and commentary that fed into giving them a sense of anxiety, tension. They thought they were staying informed on top of everything, but what they were really doing was marinating the agitation, the tension in life. And the body responds to agitation like it's danger. Now, when the mind stays in fight or flight too long, sleep becomes shallow. Appetite, it shifts, digestion slows, blood pressure creeps upward and upward. You start reaching for quick stimulants, a Tylenol or something, more caffeine, more sugar maybe, more distraction, and each one quietly drains your minerals. They took decades to build up. The body does not argue with you. It simply adjusts. That's why mental environment matters so much. So what do we do about this? We don't swing into the extremes of everything. We don't pretend the world is a perfect place to live in. We simply curate the atmosphere all around us the way a good rancher manages his land. Now, first, you set boundaries on information. Check news once a day, not hourly. Turn off the television when it begins to repeat the same urgency over and over. If you wouldn't allow a stranger to stand in your living room shouting all day, don't allow it through your screen, your TV screen, as a visitor. Now, second, replace, don't just remove. Read something steady. Read from the Psalms, a page from Thoreau, a biography of someone who endured difficulty with dignity. Read the book of Job. He suffered. Walk outside in the morning. Get that sunlight you need. Get that natural D3. Let your eyes adjust to something natural. Your nervous system recognizes sunlight differently than artificial light. It settles differently to your body. Now, third, protect sleep like it's a repair crew, working in the night shift. And that's what it is, because that is simply what's happening with you. Go to bed with calm input. Not conflict, not argument, not bright, flashing screens, blue light. Magnesium in the evening, clean water with balanced electrolytes during the day, steady meals, or even an occasional gentle fast to reset your system. These are not fads. They are the maintenance that your body really needs. Now, number 4, cultivate conversation that builds. Retirees are not done contributing things of your experiences. You are mentors now. Grandchildren watch how you respond to stress and problems. Your coworkers watch how you carry yourself. If your mental environment is steady, you become steady for others. If it's agitated, that agitation just spreads. Faith belongs here. Now, remember, it's not in a dramatic way, but faith steadies your perspective. It reminds you that history always has been uncertain, and yet life continued. Faith is not panic, it is posture. It is choosing to respond with order rather than fear. I've learned to think of myself as a project manager of my own body and my mind. If I allow constant strain into the system, I should not be surprised when parts begin to just wear out. But if I manage input with intention over time, the system can stabilize. The heart rate settles down, the sleep deepens, the mood lifts, not overnight, but steadily. Mental environment matters because it sets the tone for everything else. It shapes attention. It shapes the overall habits of your character. And over years, it shapes your character and it builds on it, builds on it. Now, retirement it's not decline. Now, hear me, it's not decline. It's the second act. You now have the authority to design your days. That includes what you allow to form your inner climate, your inner environment. You can create a home atmosphere that supports health rather than drains it. You can speak words that are calm rather than inflame your body. You can choose reading that enlarges rather than narrows your mind. None of this requires wealth. It requires awareness and attention. The mind is your soil. That the body grows from it. Tend to the soil and the harvest changes. I don't have all this figured out. I'm still working on it myself. So let's keep moving forward on this journey together. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.